Hello everybody, I want to do a review on the first 100 episodes of Inuyasha. So, much like Urusei Yatsura and Ranma 1/2, Maison Ikkoku, it's all created by one person named Rumiko Takahashi. So the premise of the show is a girl named Kagome lives in a present-day Tokyo. It is an older series, so it's going to be a Tokyo from like the late 90s, early 2000s, so it's not like today Tokyo. She lives in a shrine, and there's a well at her shrine called the Bone Eater's Well, and one day she's trying to look for her cat, and all of a sudden she is grabbed by a demon who takes her into the well, and she's transported back into the past to the feudal era. And there she meets a half demon, half human named Inuyasha. And it starts... So, hold on. Actually, before I go, that's the start of the series. What happens next is they discover that inside Kagome is something called the Shikon Jewel, which is said to grant any wish, and so many demons and men with evil in their hearts want to try and grab it, and a demon gets it, but Kagome, trying to stop the demon, shatters the jewel into like hundreds of little pieces. And so her and Inuyasha go on this journey to try and find all the pieces. Along the way, they meet a fox demon named Shippo, a monk named Moroku, who is cursed with a wind tunnel in his hand. So it's like this, I'm not sure how to, it's like a thing of wind that sucks in everything, and it's in his hand, and he controls it with these beads that he wraps around his wrists. It's only on one hand, it's not in both of them. And over time, it would keep growing until it completely, like, swallows him whole. They also meet a demon slayer named Sango and her demon cat, Kirara. And that's pretty much our group. And they realize that a lot of the problems that have happened to them, for example, Inuyasha used to be in love with a priestess named Kikyo, who is the woman that Kagome is a reincarnation of. They were tricked into hating each other and attempting to kill each other. Kikyo does die, Inuyasha doesn't. He's cursed to sleep against a tree. Sango's entire village has been slaughtered. She was from a demon slayer village. And the curse of the wind tunnel for Moroku. All of them have these problems because of one man, and that is a character called Naraku. And so not only is their journey to find all the jewel shards, but it's also the journey to try and defeat Naraku, who is a half demon because he used to be a human called Onigumo, who fell in love with Kikyo, and he wanted her for himself, and he wanted the jewel. So he offered his body up to hundreds of demons, and like they merged into one being, which is Naraku. So that's pretty much the premise of the show. There's also two big relationships. There's Kagome and Inuyasha. There's also Moroku and Sango. There's actually like a love square going on too. So it's Kagome, Inuyasha, and then Koga, who's a wolf demon that falls in love with Kagome. And there's, of course, Kikyo. Now, remember I said Kikyo died, but she has been resurrected, and what they had to do was they, like, stole a part of Kagome's soul because she's the reincarnation of Kikyo. So, yeah, that's crazy. So it's like a love square because there's 4 people involved. Kagome does not... Now, Inuyasha does love Kikyo, and he's also falling in love with Kagome. Kagome's in love with Inuyasha, but she's not in love with Koga. Koga's in love with her. And Kikyo is sort of in love with Inuyasha, but also kind of still hates him, even though she knows what happened with Naraku. So that's the premise of the show. I do know that there's a difference between it and the manga. I think my understanding is they focus more on the Naraku storyline than the relationships between the characters. I kind of wish there was a balance between both. That's just my opinion. I know that there could be some work with the relationships, particularly with Kagome and Inuyasha. I ship them, just saying. But I do understand why some people don't, and they prefer like Kikyo, Koga, or whatever. But I think that's just because the show kind of underdeveloped them a little bit, so far at least. And I feel like it's the opposite in the manga from what I've kind of dug around for, and from what I very, very tiny little bit remember. It's been a very long time since I've read the manga as well. It's also been a long time since I've seen Inuyasha, so I'm really excited that I'm rewatching the series. But the plot overall is really good. It is pretty simple, straightforward. It does have like a monster of the day format in a way. When they're finding a jewel shard, for example, they have to fight a demon, it actually works really well in the series, because it's building up to that final battle with Naraku, and there are episodes like in between those that are kind of like big story driven episodes, like where they fight like Naraku. Inuyasha has to use his sword Tetsaiga to break down the barrier, and then like he kind of disappears for a while. So there are things like that. And Naraku, he's not an easy villain to get rid of. Excuse me. But I don't know if in the manga they got him easier, but either way, he's not an easy villain to get rid of, which is cool. And that actually works in the favor of the series. There are other characters that come in besides Naraku. He's created like kind of copies of himself, but not really. They're different, but he's created like these other demons, and so the team, Team Inuyasha, right, has to fight them, and it's not easy. There's Kagura, who's like a wind demon, so she's kind of hard to fight, particularly for Inuyasha and Moroku, who have these like wind-based powers too, so it doesn't always work. Along the way, you do get episodes with Inuyasha's older half-brother, Sesshomaru, who's entirely demon, and you see his relationship with a little child named Rin develop. Nothing, by the way, if you're worried about anything like nefarious happening, no, it's very pure and innocent. She does, of course, spoiler alert, in the sequel series, Yashahime, she is the mother of his children, but she's older. Like, it all happened when she was older, not during this time. Nothing happened during this time between them, just saying, romantically speaking. It's very... I'm trying to think. It's more about him learning to accept humans and realize that they're okay and things like that than like more of a romance type of situation, which I actually thought was really great for his character. And Inuyasha also kind of has like a similar, like, he did accept humans, but then he felt betrayal from Kikyo, so it was kind of relearning to accept humans and also realize that being a half demon isn't a problem. And so far he has accepted that, so like his wish was to be full demon, and so it's kind of Inuyasha learning to accept who he is and to let others in, and so far he has done that in these first 100 episodes. he's still a little, with at least Kagome, he's still not willing to open up truly to her and really go for a relationship. And I feel like that's going to happen the next 97 episodes, that's including the final act. So yeah, are there filler episodes? Yes, 100%. I actually really enjoy the filler episodes for this series, though. They're usually like 1 or 2 episodes long, and then you get back to the big storyline. So it's not like the Garlic Jr. saga in Dragon Ball Z, where it really took over a big chunk of the story, or like the Makai Tree stuff in Sailor Moon in the 2nd season, where that took over a big chunk of the storyline too, and it was entirely purely filler, anime only, made up stuff. This is like, they're just 1 or 2 episodes here or there. A lot of it's more comedic. I will say that the filler episodes tend to be very comedic based, which is fine. I think the show sometimes needed that, so the fillers work out in favor, because I think after a while, especially given how long the series is and the fact that they don't, in these first 100 episodes, haven't defeated Naraku and gotten all the pieces of the Shikon Jewel, you do need like a little bit of a break in here or there. So the filler episodes actually work in favor for Inuyasha. I'm trying to think if there's that many off the top of my head. I don't 100% know. One of my favorites are like when Inuyasha goes to the present, because he can also go through the well to time travel. I like those episodes because he's trying to fit into a time period that demons don't really exist in anymore, so it's kind of odd, right? Like in the past there's hundreds and hundreds of demons, and all of a sudden they're all gone in Kagome's time. So it's weird, where did they all go? I guess we'll find out maybe in when I finish the series, or at least in hopefully in Yashahime. I want to know what happened. Where'd they all go? Because they live a very long time, so I highly doubt they were all just, slayed by the demon slayers or something. There were a lot of them. Yeah. I will say it is quite violent at times. You do have like blood in certain scenes and things like that, so keep that in mind when you watch Inuyasha. There's also quite a bit of nudity. It's not, yes, it's an anime, and yes, like things like animation, like cartoons and anime are typically seen as for kids, but it's not. Like I said, there's violence, there's going to be blood. Like there's a scene where somebody, like their hand, they like stab it through somebody and you see like blood on their hand. Like that's not a kid thing. I'm sorry, it's not. So if you're going to watch it, keep in mind that it is meant for older audiences, someone over 18. It was originally on Adult Swim when it first aired, so yeah. There's also some nudity, throwing that out there as well, which is generally not in children's media, so yeah, just saying. It's not a kid show, definitely not. Let me think what else. So far, 100 episodes, that's all I've watched. Like I said, the story is really good. I honestly, so far, Kikyo has kind of come and gone, so she's not dominating a lot of the plot, which I'm actually cool with. I kind of wish they found a way, like, yeah, they brought her back, but I don't think she's going to go anywhere until the very end of the series, and I would have preferred if, like, within these first 100 episodes, we could have done something about her, or about the relationship between her and Inuyasha. I think they needed to close that chapter in his life sooner rather than later, but I could be wrong. I mean, and maybe it'll happen in the next 10 episodes after 100. I don't know. I don't remember. I do know I never watched the final act, so I'm gonna keep that in mind. With Inuyasha, English dub is great. It's actually one of the best English dubs out there. So I highly recommend watching it in English. Also highly recommend watching in Japanese. It's one of those series that's great in both Japanese and English. So I really recommend it both ways. Let me think. It is available on Hulu, both the original series and the final act. So you can watch it in Japanese and in English. Sometimes there's only one or the other in certain cases. Like Dragon Ball, you can only watch it in Japanese. Dragon Ball Super, you can only watch it in English. So keep that in mind. Like when you go to look at anime on Hulu or Netflix and you're like maybe a diehard Japanese only person, or you're someone that only wants to watch it in English, or you don't care and you're like me, like you'll watch it both both ways depending on the anime. But yeah, and that's all I had to say really for the first 100 episodes. The animation is pretty good. I think it's really great. I love the character designs. A lot of people are really concerned about the years. Like Inuyasha, like at one point in time, it's usually during the night of the full moon, or the new moon, so, excuse me, where he turns into a human and he loses his demon powers. So he has human ears, right? So what happens is, I guess, like, the doggy ears turn into human ears, or somehow. But it would be more weird if he didn't have ears, though. And again, I mentioned in my Ranma video that Inuyasha as a human does look remarkably like Rama. That was like a tongue-in-cheek thing that Rumiko Takahashi did. And I don't know if that was the intention when they hired the same voice actor in Japan to do both characters. Either way, it's great. There, like I said, there was a gag there was like a special where all the characters from, not all the characters actually, it's characters from her 3 major series, Urasei Ratsura, Ranma, and Inuyasha. It had Inuyasha, Kagome, Ranma, Ataru, and Lum. And there was a scene with male Ranma and Inuyasha, and he goes, Ranma says something along the lines of, what pond in Jisengyo did you get cursed in? And Inuyasha, I believe, is the one that replies, why do you sound like me? So there was that like little tongue-in-cheek joke right there. I like it. I think it's funny. I also like the fact that Richard Ian Cox, who's the English voice actor of Inuyasha, did also voice male Ranma for seasons 4 through 7, I think. So either 3 or 4 seasons, I'm not sure, of Ranma, 1/2 in English. He's actually one of the actors in the English dub that I liked. Otherwise, some of the other ones I didn't care for in that one, but Inuyasha has a great English dub, so I highly recommend it. And that's really all I have to say. I do like a lot of the ships in the series. I'm a Kagome Inuyasha person, and not the will they won't they though aspect of their relationship is like driving me bananas. I'm just like, can y'all like, I don't know, sit down and talk something. It's been 100 episodes. I think it's time now. I would have liked to have actually seen them together as a couple. I do know they don't get together until like the very, very end of the series, which is in the final act. So I do know that. I remember that. But I'm just like, oh, I wish, I don't know if that was a Ramiko thing or if the anime changed that. I don't know. It's been a while since I read the manga. That's on my to-do list next. But yeah, I wish they had found a way to get together earlier. That was kind of like my issue with Ranma too, like with Ranma and Akane. And as I've been reading / watching Urusei Yatsura, I personally don't want Lam and Nataro to get together, but that's another thing. I feel like Meizo Nikoku is the one, like, if you want, like, a relationship series, that's the one to go for. Inuyasha, I feel like, at least the anime, again, from what I'm hearing, the manga did focus on the relationship, so not 100% sure. I have to look into that, and I'll get back to you guys. Alright, that's all I have to say. So far, I'm being bold. I'm gonna give it an A. Inuyasha's getting an A, even though I did have some to put, then I haven't finished, so it's only 100 episodes, so the first 100, I'm giving it how about an A-, solid A- for the first 100 episodes of Inuyasha. When I finish the series, I'll let you know the overall grade. Okay, bye guys.